I helped this Premier League player go from out of favour with their manager, looking like they're about to be released, to a long-term £120,000 a week contract with the same Premier League team and this same manager singing their praises. Now, I'm going to give you the strategies in this video that help them to do this and will hopefully help you too to take your game to the next level and maximize your chances of going pro. And if you're already a pro, go to levels far higher than you're playing right now. Now, I work with Premier League footballers around performance and mental performance. And I have worked with so many players at all levels of the game, but I tend to now only work with players at Championship and indeed Premier League level. But there is one thing that most players, psychologists, coaches, performance guys, that they just do not talk about. And it is a huge challenge for any player looking to play at a higher level, and indeed was something that threatened to derail the career of this player that I was working with. And because of this issue that hardly anyone talks about, he had lost the trust of his manager from this Premier League team, and he was loaned out to a team overseas. But again, the same problem arose here. Not only was he at risk of losing his place at his Premier League club, but if it didn't work out at the club he was loaned to, it might be hard for any team to want to take a risk on him. So when we started to work together, the issue was clear. He wasn't getting any game time at this club or his Premier League club, as they both wanted to play him in a different role and a different position than he was used to playing. You see, he made his name playing on the right. He knew this position inside out. In this position, he knew exactly when to cut in or when to go outside. It enabled him to do all these things with his dominant foot, playing to his strengths, getting assists, scoring goals. And these performances were the reason why he was at this Premier League club in the first place. So why would they want to play him out of position? Now, these conversations with his manager led to disagreements, and in the end, it made it necessary for him to go out on loan. And it was clear that he probably was not going to go back to the Premier League club at the end of his loan move. But the loan abroad gave him the opportunity to once again showcase his talent. But once again, this new manager also wanted to play him out of position. Now, frustrated and starting to get disillusioned with the game, with more disagreements with this new manager at the new club he was loaned to, he found himself on the bench in most games and in a very similar position that he was in at his Premier League club, but now at a club nowhere near to the levels of the Premier League team, and he still couldn't get a game. And we're going to come back to this player's journey in just a moment, but this is such a huge issue that every player needs to overcome if they're going to make it pro, or if they are pro, that they need to overcome if they're going to play at the levels in the game that they are truly capable of playing at. Now, when you move higher in the game, you're going to have to adapt to new positions and new roles that your new manager wants you to play in. Now, it's likely that you were probably the superstar in your existing team, where you could play in the exact position that you wanted, doing the exact things that were best for your game. But now you've moved up and you're not the best player. Now you're asked to adapt. So not only now do you have to play at a higher level, you have to play at this higher level in a role that is not matched to your best game. And this is what led to the disagreements with my Premier League player that I was working with. Now, there were a number of approaches that I took with him. First of all, I wanted him to tell me what he wanted to achieve from the game over the next 3 to 5 years. Now, these were things such as winning the Champions League and winning the Ballon d'Or. And I then asked him whether he was going to make this sitting on the bench. Now, obviously not. But I had to make him realise what was the best thing for him. Now, we weren't looking to please the manager or anyone else. What we were looking for was what was best for him. And as he knew, he had to start playing again. And how was he going to do this? He had no choice but to play out of position if this was what the manager wanted. If he wanted to achieve everything that he wanted from the game, this, as he knew, was his only option. And now we had a real and powerful reason front and center in his mind to the reason why he was going to play in this position. He knew that this was the only way that he was going to achieve what he wanted to achieve. We then looked at the two major issues that meant that playing out of position was going to be a big problem. Now, first was the confidence and the belief that he could play there in the first place. And then secondly was the actual ability to play and then excel in this position. So firstly, getting an understanding of his brain from a performance perspective and then using various techniques, it was quite a simple process to getting him to have the confidence and the self-belief to play there. But it's a big problem, isn't it? Having all the confidence in the world counts for very little if you don't have the ability to play in this position. So what we did then is we looked into the position and the very best players in the world that played this position. What did they do? How did they perform in this position? How did they do it so well? And then we looked into what he could take from their game and put into his game. We then also looked at what his game would look like in this position if he was excelling, if he was the very best player in the world in this new position. What would he be doing? How would he be doing it? And because we know that visualizing something is very similar to actually physically doing something, as in the same neural pathways in the brain are strengthening, which actually means we learn in a similar way. So we can actually physically learn something by simply visualizing it. We work together on a number of different but very specific visualization strategies. And he worked so hard and so brilliantly at them. Ultimately, he knew that he wanted to win the Champions League, to win the Ballon d'Or. And this was the best and the most effective step that he could take right now. So some of the actual visualizations that we worked on were these. So first of all, patterns of play, visualizing the new movements that he was going to have to perform in this position. Then playing like the best, seeing himself doing the things that the very best players in the world did in these positions. Visualizations of assisting, scoring, all from this position. Then there were visualizing the characteristics of his teammates, the players that were now going to be around him. How did each one of these individual players play? What were their characteristics? Visualizing receiving passes to feet and in behind from them. So his brain knew instinctively what to do each time a player, depending on who it was, got the ball, and really drilling this into his mind so it became automatic and instinctive. Or if he was on the ball, what pass to make depending on, again, the specific player that was going to receive the ball. And I guided him through these visualizations. So he's learning them, getting better, improving all the time, making every aspect of his game in this new position automatic and instinctive, fast, effective decision making and execution. And the result? Not only did he get into the team, he scored and assisted many times for the team that he was on loan to. He helped them get to the final of a major European final in that season. And when he went back to the Premier League club, he earned the trust of his manager back there as well. And here the manager was very vocal about the turnaround in his attitude and his application, even talking about this in the media. A player now that had his trust. And he got a new contract where he is now earning well over £100,000 a week. And what is really fascinating about this is that what was out of position for him and the big problem that was causing him so many issues in progressing his career, well, he's worked so hard on this that this is now his preferred position.